All right, we are going to start looking at some of these problems on this practice test here. We'll see what we get through, do about 5 minutes worth of work, and then we'll stop. All right, so for this first one, it says tickets for a school play cost $7 for students and $10 for adults. Then they give you this equation that represents the number of students, X, and adults, Y. So I know X is my students, that's the 7X. And adults is Y, that's my 10. And those are the ones who can attend the play for $80. All right, so that means you're on a fixed budget. You're not spending any more than $80. If no students attend, how many adults can see the play for $80? So in order to do that problem, pretty much you just got to make the connection that no students, all right, and you know that students is X, means that you make your X variable equal to 0. All right, that's really all that means. And so we're going to take this equation then, and we're going to substitute 0 in for X because we figured that out from this whole thing right here. So 7 times 0 plus 10y equals 80. Basically, we're finding our y-intercept for the equation. So that gets rid of this. You divide by 10, and you get y equals 8. Right, so how many adults? 8 adults. All right, second one. If the coordinate a comma -8 is a solution to the equation -a equals 4b minus 7, what is a? So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that this means ab, right? Sorry, my thing is being funky. All right, and so we're going to take this and we're going to put it in there. Well, I don't know what A is, so A is just going to stay what it is. And then for B, I'm going to put in this -8 right here. Okay, if it'll let me underline it or something. Thank you. 4 times -8 minus 7. This gives you -32 minus 7. A equals -32 minus 7, which means that A equals -39. And that's A, if that's what we have, we know that we need to multiply both by -1. And then you should get that A is equal to 39. All right, remember, if you have a negative variable, it's just telling you they're saying the opposite of A is equal to -39. So if that's the case, then you just say, well, then if it's the opposite of A is equal to -39, what's the opposite of -39? And that's what your A is going to be. All right, for number 3, okay, and I'm going to erase this, so if you need this to get it down, you could go back to the video where it's written down. Find the x-intercept of 3x minus y equals 7. Well, if you're finding your x-intercept, that means your y-coordinate is 0. Okay? That's what that means. So you're going to go into this equation, right? And you're going to say, okay, so 3x minus, well, I'm going to make y equal to 0 now. 3x minus 0 equals 7. So that's fine. That goes away. You're left with 3x equals 7. Divide both sides by 3 because that's what you do. And then you get x is equal to 7/3. So my x-intercept is 7/3. That means that if I put 7/3 in for x and 0 in for y, I will get an equality, which you will get. All right, last one here, and then we'll pause the video and do some more. Actually, I think we'll do 4 and 5 yet. Determine the domain and range for the graph shown. All right, well, your domain is always all your x values that you can put in, okay, x values, is your y values that you get as a result. And so if you look at this is an absolute value equation. It looks like for domain you can put in any number, right? Because it looks like you have all your values going that way and everything going this way. So your domain is going to be all real numbers, all right? All real numbers. Remember, we use that double R for real numbers. And then your range is going to be what y values you get out. Well, if you look at this graph, you'll notice that your y never goes below this point right here. It's always above that. And then it looks like it goes up, you know, to positive infinity on both sides, right? It goes up to positive infinity there, it goes up to positive infinity there. So that means that your range is going to be, and I'm going to write this in set builder, all right? So y, for y, if y is greater than, and then just pick this lowest point there. Y has to be greater than, and then we'll say it's probably equal to as well. Greater than or equal to -3. So that's the lowest point. All right, and then for this last one, when you find the 0 of something, all right, it means you're finding it where y is equal to 0. All right, where y is equal to 0 is your 0 of the function. The 0 of the function is where it crosses on your x-axis, and you have to make that connection that on the x-axis, y is equal to 0. So what's weird about this equation is you don't have a y. So all you have to do for this thing is just solve it for x. Because that's basically what you're doing, is you zero out your y and then you solve it for x. Well, our y is essentially already zeroed out. So let's just solve for x. So let's add 48 to both sides. You get 6x equals 48. Pardon me going through this other writing here. Divide each side by 6, and then you get x is equal to 8. Okay, that's 1 through 5. Next video we'll pick up at 6.